Welcome to Stitch to New. I'm Lynn. This is Lady Girl. She must be very tired today. But today I thought I would walk you through a project I've been working on for my craft shows. It's very simple, beginner friendly. If you have never made a stitch before, this will be super simple. And if you are an experienced sewist or quilter, this will be a great item for your repertoire. They're great for gifts. They're great just to have around for your own self. So today we're going to be working on, some people call these, all right, come here, Lady Girl. Let's sit you up here. So we're going to be working on a 15-minute table runner. This is what it looks like. They're two-sided. I have been making, let's see, I've got Valentine's, St. Patrick's Day, I did some Mardi Gras, I did some Easter. So today I thought I would take you guys along as I make a couple of red, white, and blue 4th of July. I keep these all year long in my craft show stock. I usually have fall, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I carry, because I do a lot of fall, winter craft shows, but I get a lot of requests for other like spring, summer holidays. Come here, sunshine. So today I'm going to be working on those red, white, and blue ones, so I thought I would bring you guys along. So the first thing I did is pull out my red, white, and blue fabrics to see what I've got. So the main two fabrics I've got, this one with all kinds of patriotic themes, and I have this one which has like little red, white, and blue little mini flags on it, and I thought I would pair them. For each one you need two fabrics. So I have this polka dot, which wasn't too excited about that one, and then I had this smaller polka dot which I think goes better with both fabrics. So this is the one I've chosen to use. I'm going to set my polka dots over here to the side. So you need to decide, I'm going to grab my runner, for your fabrics, this outside fabric that will also be the backing of your table runner is going to be your widest cut. So you need to decide which one you want to be your outside and which one you want to be your inside. So for the ones I'm doing today, I'm going to use the polka dot for the outside fabric, and my focus fabric is going to be the one that's on the inside. So both of these will be my focus fabrics. So to start with, move this out of the way. For the outside fabric, you need to cut with the fabric 18 inches. Okay, so 18 inches. Let me cut that one. And my rotary cutter, I'm going to line it up here. And I'm going to do 18 inches. One, now I'm going to cut a second one because I'm going to do one of each of these. Okay, there's my two outside pieces. Set those to the side. Then I'm going to take my focus fabric, which is for me, it's going to be the inside, and I need a 12-inch wide by width of fabric. 12 inches. first one. Get my other fabric here. And I'm going to get 12 inches of this one. This fabric, I have not cut into it yet, so I need to make a cleanup cut. So what I'm going to do, so if you'll notice, a cleanup cut, my edges here are not even. So I'm going to cut this one a little bit oversized. I'm going a little bit more. So I've made sure on the left side that I have gone a little bit past the 0 so that I have all those raggedy edges. And then I'm going to go just a little bit, maybe 12 1/4 here. And then I'm going to flip it around. So I'm going to take this right edge that I know is even, and I'm going to flip it over, and now I'm going to line that up with the 0 mark. Always line up with 2 lines on your mat. So I'm lining up here and here. Now I'm going to come back and make that 12-inch mark so that I know I'm exactly centered and everything is lined up. Now I can take that raggedy edge off. Okay, so there is my width of fabric. That's 12 inches. Here's my 18-inch. Now, the lengths of these may not line up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take salvage edge and line up with salvage edge. I'll show you this side. So you'll see this one is only 12 inches, but I've got 6 more inches here. And I'm going to take this long edge here these are almost even, and I'm going to pin along this edge to work out almost even. Put that last pin in and I'll show you. So they come out almost even. So I've done one edge, doesn't matter which one, all the way down, and I've pinned it, and then I'm just leaving the other together. Now I've got the right side of this one facing the right side of this one. So I'm going to pin my second table runner together, and then I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam all the way down this edge on both of these, and I'll meet you right back. Okay, so here you'll see I've sewn a 1/4 inch from that one end, and for these two fabrics they were about the same length. For these fabrics, not so much. They did not line up, but that's okay. So the two together along one long end, 1/4 inch seam, right sides facing. Next step, where my background fabric is wider. Now I'm going to take this end and match it. Now, let me show you the important thing. This end, they're not the same length. This end, I started together. So on this end, not the one where they don't match, I'm going to take the two long ends again, right sides together, pin them all the way down, and you'll see it still doesn't match up down here, but that's okay. So let me match up this first one. And again, I'm going to take this to my sewing machine, 1/4 inch seam all the way along that long side. And I'm not going to worry about how these don't line up on this one end. We'll talk about that in a little bit when we get to the next step. Okay, got both of those sewn. And it looks kind of odd because you got this one piece that's too big on the back. But you'll see 1/4 inch seam here, 1/4 inch seam here. And then this one doesn't quite fit. Okay? Show you on the other. So 1/4 inch seam on this side, 1/4 inch seam on this side, and it looks like I've done something wrong because they don't match. This is the magic. Okay? So I'm going to take this, reach in, grab the end, and turn them right side out. Now, what you're going to try to do, lay them down. You can measure if you want to. I kind of eyeball it to start with. Lay them down so that, and make it so that that outside layer looks about even. Then you can take your measure, your ruler, and kind of measure. Let's see, I've got, with this fabric, a little more than 1.25 inches on that side. Ooh, I've got about 1.5 inches on that one. So I would scooch it just a little bit to give that top side a little bit more. And then I will take this to the iron and iron it just like this. And I'll do the same with that one. Okay, so here we go. I've moved over to the ironing board. And I'm just going to kind of measure. This one's a little bit wider. This is where you want to kind of take your time. Alright, let's try this one. 1.25 inches. And even though they call this a 15-minute table runner, if it takes you longer, you're okay. No one's going to know. Okay? So once I've got it how I like it, and even if I'm ironing, I can adjust. I'm going to give it a spritz on that seam. I'm going to start in the middle, my preference. This side. And I'm kind of feeling along that edge to make sure that that seam is facing out. And see, I'm noticing these aren't the same. It's okay. I'm going to adjust. And just press again. Really want to check. Let me get that ruler again. Pretty close. And then I'm going to keep working down this side. Get that out of the way. Again, this end. Looking a little off. Just going to adjust. All right. Now that I am happy with the way it's pressed, everything's flat. This is where some of the magic comes in. I'm going to flip it upside down. Make sure again, everything's flat. And I'm going to take the bottom and line it up with the top. Make sure everything's lined up good. And you'll see this is the end where we've got that, where it doesn't quite match. That is fine. Right? Now we're going to move this, just like it is, back over to my cutting table. Okay, I've got it back over on the cutting table now. So, fold it in half I've lined these bands up. I'm going to take this side, fold it over, and you'll see these don't quite meet each other. But I'm going to line the ends of my band up. I'll flip it over. Make sure everything is nice and even and straight. Let me bring you in a little more. Okay, so you'll see I've lined up those bands all here together. I'm not worried about this end sticking over, but everything else is lined up straight. Now I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to line it up. I'm going to line one edge across the top, and then I'm going to find where that salvage is. So there should be a line here at the bottom, a line there at the top, and then I want to be just inside that salvage. Then I'm going to make a cut and cut all of this off. So see, that's that uneven part, and it doesn't matter because we just cut it off. So now I've got, I'll throw that away, these two ends. I'm going to take these over to the sewing machine. I'm going to take you with me so you can see this. Move that one back. I'm going to make sure this end is lined up, right side up. I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam there. So let me take you to the sewing machine and show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I've moved everything over here to my machine. Pull this one over. I'm going to move this one back, and I'm going to make sure these ends are perfectly aligned, and I'm going to put a pin in it because I want to make sure this edge right here, this is the trick to it. We want to make sure that is perfectly even so that our next step is right, and this is right side up. And then we'll put another pin down here. And I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam starting here, and I'm going to go forward and back, do a little back stitch there to hold that together. Alright, back stitch, and then follow all the way down the edge. And then back stitch at the end. Then I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to do the other end. Right, again, I'm going to make sure these edges align perfectly together. Put a pin in there. It's nice and flat. Put a pin in down at the bottom. That one. Again, back stitch, 1/4 inch seam. Back stitch at the end. Okay, so both ends have been stitched. So now I'm going to check for any loose threads here at this end. Put those off. Same thing at the bottom, any loose threads. And then at the top, I'm going to trim that seam. And then I'm going to do the same here at the bottom. Make sure you don't clip the stitches, but just trim that seam a little bit. And then I'm going to flip it over to the other end. Do the same thing. Clip any loose stitches. trim that seam. Come up here and we'll trim these loose stitches. There's none on that side. And then trim. See how I just thinned it out a little bit going back? Right. And here's where that comes into play. I need my important chopstick here. Move these out of the way. So I'm going to open this up, stick my hand in, and flip that point out. And then I'm going to use that trusty chopstick because it's a point, but it's not a sharp point, so it won't hopefully poke through. So I'm going to poke that tip out. And then I am going to lay this down flat. Here comes that magic. I'm going to make sure that my seam underneath, doesn't matter which direction you want it to go in, just make sure it's all going in the same direction. You don't want it all twisted going down through there. Lay that flat, and then again, I'm going to pin so it doesn't shift. These out of the way. And now I'm going to take another top stitch. So this one's going to be less than 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to start here, back stitch, and just top stitch all the way down this seam, back stitch at the end. I'm going to show you that. Now, I'm going to trim these threads. And then go to the other end and catch these threads. Now, remember how I told you when we were, let me go back over here. When we were lining this edge up straight here, that is this edge right here. If this is not even, your sides are not going to be straight across like that. They're going to come out cattywampus. So you want to make sure when you do this seam, that top edge is even, so that'll turn out like that. All right, I'm going to turn it around. So now I'm going to go to the other end. See, where we lined that edge up, it's nice and straight there. So again, I'm going to put a pin in here. And a pin in here just to hold everything in place while I top stitch through. And let's take this and the other one back over to that ironing board, and I'll show you what they look like. Okay, so here we go. Here is our 15-minute table runner. So you'll see, pointed on the ends, focus fabric in the middle. If you would like, again, give it a little starch and a good iron. And just that quick, I have not just one, but two table runners. They can either be used like this with that focus fabric up, or you can flip them over. And now I've got just a navy blue polka dot on the back, and that's with both. These will finish about 42 inches long, but it's going to vary a little bit based on how wide your fabric was. You saw when I did this one, this fabric was woven wider than this fabric. So each one, they'll finish about the same width, but they're each a little bit different. Now I did red, white, and blue, patriotic, because that's what I need for my craft show. But you could do these with any theme You could do pinks, purples, blues, greens, whatever works with your home decor, and make it your own. You can also do it, you could do a holiday print on this side and a plain on the back. So it doesn't have to be just red, white, and blue, or Halloween, Easter, Valentine's. You can make it whatever you want. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment and let me know if I need to clarify something. And as always, give us a like and subscribe. It really helps our small channel grow, and I'm really hoping to be able to reach a few more people.